I share in your pain. President Tinubu on visit to Maiduguri sympathizes with residents of Borno State over flood. Nigeria's inflation rate drops for the second straight month this year to 32.15%. And leaders preach hope, pray for a better Nigeria as Muslims mark Eid al-Mawlud. Thanks for joining us on the Network News on NTA tonight. I'm Najat Tujani. On business news is Musa Abubakar. Musa, apart from the drop in the nation's inflation rate as mentioned earlier, what other good news do you have tonight?
Oil prices climbed more than 1% as gold extend gains on Monday.
Well, let's hope Ayo Deji Makinde also has some good news on sports update. Ayo, do we?
Oh yes, we have, because our teenagers at the National Youth Games in Asaba are already making a name for themselves ahead of their future.
Thank you, Ayo. We look forward to the details. Remember that NTA News streams live on Facebook, and do follow us across social media. Our handles are displayed on the screen. And now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has assured victims of the Maiduguri flood disaster of continuous support to enable them recover from its impact. The president gave the assurance during a sympathy visit to Maiduguri, Borno State, over the flood disaster, which has affected about 2 million people. The presidential aircraft touched ground at Maiduguri Air Force Base at about 20 minutes past 3 in the afternoon, accompanied by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, among other dignitaries. The president was received by the state governor, Babagana Umar Zulum, alongside dignitaries on the visit to the state, comprising governors of Bauchi, Sokoto and Kogi states, as well as members of the National Assembly from Borno, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security as well. The president then proceeded to the Government College temporary camp, where he said he had come to identify with the people, assuring them of federal government's continuous support at the palace of the Shehu of Borno, Abubakar Ibn Garbay El Kanemi. President Tinubu commiserates with the government and people of Borno State over the incident. Meanwhile, Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has expressed gratitude to the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, for the consistent support to victims of the flood in the state. The governor stated this while inspecting food distribution at an internally displaced persons camp. Correspondent Ilyasu Yakubu reports that the agency's Director General, Zubaydah Umar, was on the governor's entourage.
The deployment of resources for evacuation, search and rescue mission, as well as provision of food and non-food items to victims of flood disaster in Maiduguri by the National Emergency Management Agency has been described as unprecedented. Experts say this level of commitment must be sustained and improved upon for the well-being of all Nigerians. Governor Zulum said with the volume of intervention work done by NEMA for the upkeep of disaster victims across the country, it is obvious that the agency is overwhelmed and therefore appeal.
NEMA is overwhelmed, and therefore I'm also pleading on behalf of the National Emergency Management Agency to the federal government in order to provide additional support for them so that they can carry out their functions diligently.
NTA News investigation revealed that the flood waters are gradually receding and the victims are beginning to pick up the pieces of their lives. From Maiduguri, Ilyasu Yakubu, NTA News.
And the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Zubaydah Umar, is in our Maiduguri studio to share with us observations as well as interventions by the agency. Thank you for joining NTA News.
you very much.
Now, what emergency relief measures are in place for flood victims, and how can the response be improved in terms of speed and efficiency, as highlighted in the report?
Well, so far the Borno State government has played such a vital role in terms of emergency management. We are here and we're really working together with the state governments. From the time this issue broke out, we've been part of the search and rescue. We've also been able to assist with the provision of tents to complement the efforts of the state government. They have over 36 IDP camps, and we're here to support and sustain it. We've brought about mobile clinics. We also have water purifiers because we're a bit worried that there could be an outbreak of waterborne diseases. We're filtering water and giving it out to people. Similarly, our ambulances that have been on ground are working round the clock. Our mobile clinics as well are providing medicines and medicaments to members of the camp, the displaced persons.
Well, what about, the president has just visited some of the camps and seen some of these ongoing operations. Now, what does the president's visit portend for the emergency response there?
Yes, the president has clearly stated that he's with all members of the camp during these very trying times, and he's with Borno State government. We have a listening president, and he has come to be a part of this. And the people were really excited, and from the moment he walked into the camp, you could hear the cheers. And like I said, the waters have started receding, and so far there's been quite a very high level of law and order, and the state government and the Emergency Management Agency is doing quite a lot to sustain the tempo.
That you've mentioned the receding waters, it begs the question of the use of technology. I mean, how is technology and, of course, data analysis, how are they being used to manage the floods and, of course, in terms of prediction and whatnot?
So at the beginning of the year, precisely around March, both NIMET and NISA, that is the Meteorological Agency, and the Hydrological Services Agency, use their technology to provide alerts to inform us about the flood situation of the country, the expected floods in the country. And we took this information and downscaled it to all states, all the 36 states plus the FCT. We also followed with sensitization programs to each and every state just to create awareness. And once these floods started, we also used technology to create our emergency room, where we get feedback from all the states that are experiencing floods and are able to keep up with the data and the challenges occurring in states.
Finally, I mean, you've already highlighted government support and what, of course, NEMA is already doing. How can private partnerships help in this regard?
Well, recently, like I said, this disaster, this particular Maiduguri disaster is an unprecedented one. And when you talk about partnerships, you can see community resilience. People have really come out to support the government. It is overwhelming. You're talking of over 1 million people. You're talking about over 500,000 in IDP camps. But you can see community resilience. People have really come out. People are cooking. People are supporting. And this is what goes on in every part of the world whenever you have this. It is quite impressive. Recently, we were able to write to the Dangote Foundation, and like he declared, he has also contributed towards that. Just yesterday, the UAE was able to give Nigeria 50 tons of food items for us to help. So we're going to continue engaging and see how we can get more support from private individuals and also associations.
Well, we look forward to more good news such as the one you've just shared. I've been speaking with the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, that's Zubaida Umar, on the situation in Maiduguri so far in terms of emergency response. Thank you very much for joining NTA News and for sharing this insight. Still on disasters, 8 bodies have so far been recovered from the river where a boat carrying no fewer than 40 persons capsized in Gumi local government area of Zamfara state, barely 4 weeks after the occurrence of flood in the area. Correspondent Haliru Muhammad, who visited the scene of the incident, reports.
Another tragedy struck Gumi town in Zamfara state when a boat carrying over 50 farmers capsized, resulting in the drowning of more than 40 people who were on their way to their farmlands. According to eyewitnesses, 8 dead bodies have so far been found, while effort is being intensified to discover the remaining ones, even as 6 others were rescued. The respondents are appealing for provision of modern boats, as they lamented that the existing ones are very weak. Officials of both the federal and state governments had visited the area where they commiserated with families of the victims, assessed the situation, and assured timely intervention.
I want to urge the community to please take caution on the number of people that will be inside the canoe so as to have a safe water movement. Overloading mostly is the constitutive agent of boat mishap.
It could be recalled that Gumi local government area had 4 weeks ago experienced a severe flood which caused significant damage and displacements. In Gusau, Haliru Muhammad, NTA News.
The Acting General Manager, Special Duties, National Inland Waterways Authority, Niwa Mohammed Angana, joins us to give an insight into the occurrence of boat accidents. What are Niwa's findings about the primary cause of frequent boat mishaps in Nigerian inland waterways, and how is Niwa addressing them?
Good evening, and thank you for joining. The primary causes, first I would like to condole with the families of the disease, and we are also sharing in the pains of Nigerians at this trying time. One of the major causes of boat mishap, like we have identified, is primarily due to human errors. Human errors like lack of adequate experience on plying the waterways, and also the avoidance or the non-compliance with safety protocols. Like situations where you are supposed to be on life jackets anytime you are on the waterways. So in most cases, these protocols are not followed. We have also identified that most of the boats are of poor qualities and do not meet required standards. So what NIWA is doing, we are doing a couple of things to address this situation. One of them is the regular training that we have deployed across our area offices to ensure that river users are constantly trained and are certified to use the waterways. And I would like to also quickly say that recently the Inland Waterways Transport Code has just been launched, which made it an offense to use the waterways without life jackets. These are measures we are putting in place to see that we reduce boat accidents to the barest minimum.
Cut you there. Let me quickly cut you there. So what about, can you hear me? So what about any measures? What measures? You've talked about the measures already and training. What about preventing these errors in future? In terms of long-term measures, what are you doing to ensure that these operators are properly trained? Well, we seem to have lost the audio there. I was speaking with the acting general manager, special duties of the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, Mohammed Angana. Thank you very much, sir, for joining NTA News. We do hope to reconnect some other time. Moving on, the Nigerian government is set to launch a comprehensive strategy to position the country as a leading player in the halal economy, targeting $1.5 billion GDP through strategic initiatives by 2027. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Communications, Office of the Vice President, Stanley Okwocha. The project is part of initiatives to diversify the economy and tap into the global halal market. Products and services which meet Islamic standards of permissibility, embodying ethics, integrity, and universal values which resonate across cultures and regions. The success of the Sukuk bonds and the growing appeal of Islamic banking demonstrate that halal principles are compatible with global economic standards and can benefit all Nigerians. The strategic focus on the halal economy hopefully will open up new avenues for Nigerian businesses to compete on the global stage. As Muslims commemorate Eid al-Mawlid, the governors of Kebbi, Enugu, and Bayelsa states are using the occasion to remind all that this year's anniversary coincides with a critical period in the nation's history with challenges facing the nation. They ask Nigerians to continue to pray for a renewed and stable nation, adding that the day provides an opportunity for reflection on the need for greater application of the Prophet's teachings, bordering on piety, charity, and patience. The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, also wishes Muslims Eid Mubarak and prays that the blessings of this day will bring joy and peace to homes and the country. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Didi Esther Walson-Jack, congratulates faithful, urging them to uphold and embody the Prophet's timeless virtues in their daily interactions. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, also felicitates with Muslims, calling on all Nigerians to reflect on the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which emphasize peace, compassion, tolerance, justice, and service to humanity. In a statement, he says, these are the same virtues which guide the noble mission of the military to protect the territorial integrity of the nation. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, urges all Muslims to continue to pray for peace, stability, and prosperity of Nigeria, reaffirming trust and solidarity for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as he spearheads a comprehensive economic revitalization agenda. This is the network news on NTA. Still to come. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited releases price of petrol lifted from Dangote refinery. And Nigeria's inflation rate drops to 32.15%. Stay tuned. A 25-year-old graduate from the University of Ibadan, Bamidele Mofin-Foluwa, has emerged winner of the #One Nigeria Unity Fabric competition promoted by Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu. Mofin-Foluwa was revealed at a ceremony in the villa where the First Lady charged Nigerian youth to keep tapping into their creative resources for personal and societal growth. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo reports.
It was a long walk for Bamidele Mofin-Foluwa, who, like 110 other young Nigerians, took up the challenge thrown by Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu, to design a fabric that creatively captures the beauty and unity in Nigeria's diversity. And that much was on display as the fabric, already sewn into beautiful dresses, came alive on stage where models took to the runway in the banquet hall. For the First Lady, The competition, which was inspired by a visit to Zimbabwe, has met its objectives, showcasing the patriotism and creative depths of Nigerian youths.
Every design submitted is a demonstration of the depth of talent we have in Nigeria. I applaud each one of you for your contributions. However, we can only have one winner. But I urge you not to relent in expressing your creativity, imagination, and nurturing your dreams and passion. The winning design was further worked upon by a renowned textile designer, Ms. Banke Kuku. And apart from the Renewed Hope Initiative team, we added the Nigerian coat of arms to make it truly a national fabric.
About 200,000 pieces of 6 yards wrappers of the fabric have been produced.
As we showcase this design, our goal is to encourage local mass production of the Unity fabric by 2 of our local manufacturers, making it accessible to all Nigerians. By mass producing this fabric, we aim to stimulate local industries, create jobs, and boost our economy. We envision this fabric will be used in national celebration events and daily lives, symbolizing unity, love, and pride in our nation. This project aligns with our broader objectives of fostering creativity, supporting local enterprises, and celebrating our national identity in line with the renewed hope agenda of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. The fabric will be officially worn for our Independence Day celebration on the 1st of October 2024 across the nation.
We have made provision for 5,000 pieces to various states, including the Federal Capital Territory. However, Lagos, Kano, and Abuja will get 10,000 each, considering their population and strategic importance.
The winner, Mofin Ifoluwa, is left with a sense of fulfillment for successfully nurturing a passion in creative design.
Making a fabric, I made it with love. I thought about what the country is going through right now. I feel if we all come together to stand firm as one nation, one unity, I feel Nigeria will be great.
From the banquet hall of the presidential villa, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
Thank you, Adini. Meanwhile, NNPC Limited has released the estimated prices of premium motor spirit or petrol obtained from the Dangote refinery in its retail stations across the country. A statement from the Chief Corporate Communications Officer, NNPC Limited, Olufemi Shoneye, indicates that the estimates are based on negotiated terms between NNPC and Dangote Refinery, which recognize current international gasoline prices and prevailing foreign exchange rate, in line with the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA. NNPC Limited confirms that it is paying Dangote Refinery in dollars for September 2024 petrol PMS offtake, as Naira transactions will only commence on October 1st, 2024. NNPC Limited reassures Nigerians that any discount from the Dangote Refinery will be passed on 100% to the general public. Meanwhile, data from the National Bureau of Statistics reveals that Nigeria's inflation rate has dropped for the second straight month this year to 32.15%, Muplang Dakok reports.
Nigeria's headline inflation rate dropped for the second consecutive month to 32.15% in August 2024 from the July 2024 inflation rate of 33.40%. The data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows that the headline inflation rate for August decreased by 1.25% when compared to the rate in July 2024. Urban inflation rate was 34.58% on year-on-year basis. Rural inflation rate was 29.95% on year-on-year basis. Food inflation rate in the month was 37.52% on a year-on-year basis. The NBS report shows that the rise in food inflation on a year-on-year basis was caused by increases in the prices of bread, maize, grains, guinea corn, yam, Irish potatoes, palm oil, vegetables, and beverages, among others. Sokoto State led as the state with the highest food inflation rate of 46.98%, and Bayelsa State recorded the slowest inflation rate.
Well, thank you, Muplang. That sounds good. Let's join Musa of our business desk for more good news. Musa?
Thank you, Naja. Let's bring you up to speed with business development. The Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment says it's committed to making sure that customers get value for money through enforcement of accurate measurements for consumer goods. The surveillance team of the Weights and Measures Department of the Ministry gave the assurance during inspection of selected filling stations and departmental stores across Abuja metropolis to ensure customers are not shortchanged by businesses.
Surveillance exercise with a view to ensure compliance for standard safety and then customer protection.
We are really coming up in Nigeria. All the places that we visited today, we have been able to record about 95% compliance, except the one we saw at ShopRite along Elube Road. One of the scales, was not good. And then we decided to seal the place.
Oil prices rose more than 1% on Monday as the ongoing impact of Hurricane Francine on outputs in the U.S. Gulf of Mexico offset persistent Chinese demand concerns. Report by Reuters indicates that Brent crude futures for November were up 92 cents or 1.28% at $72.53 a barrel. U.S. crude futures for October rose $1.12 or 1.63% to $69.77. Nearly a fifth of crude oil production and 28% of natural gas output in the Gulf of Mexico remains offline after Hurricane Francine. Gold prices extended gains to an all-time high on Monday, supported by a weaker dollar and the prospect of a big rate reduction by the U.S. Federal Reserve at its policy meeting this week. CNBC reports that spot gold up 0.2% at $2,580.24 an ounce after touching a record high of $2,589.59. U.S. gold futures fell 0.1% to $2,607.80. The dollar index is 0.4%, making the bullion more attractive to buyers holding other currencies. And that's a quick look at business news. Najatu is back to you now.
Thank you, Musa. We're talking infrastructural development next, and the Jigawa State Executive Council has approved the award of 48 roads totaling 835 kilometers across 3 senatorial districts of the state. Briefing newsmen on the outcome of the State Executive Council meeting, the Commissioners for Information, Works and Health said 316 billion naira has been approved for construction of roads and health facilities in the state. Muhammad Musa Askira reports.
48 roads were equally distributed among all the components of the state across the 3 senatorial districts. This is to provide access roads to farming communities, hospitals and educational facilities to connect cities and communities together for socio-economic developments in the state. The 48 roads comprise of 835 kilometers would be awarded at the cost of 300 billion naira, of which 10% mobilization fee amounted to 30 billion naira has been paid for immediate commencement of the construction work.
The PDA roads we have said, then the new construction, then the township, and then the upgrading of this road are the cumulative number of kilometers that we said we are going to construct 835 kilometers in this 2024 budget by the grace of God, inshallah.
The construction of these roads will be completed between 6 months and 18 months. In Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTN.
Do stay tuned for more reports after this time out. Thanks for staying tuned. We earlier reported on President Tinubu's visit to Maiduguri to sympathize with the people and assess the magnitude of the impact of the disaster. And now our correspondent, State House correspondent Musbau Dan Wahab joins us for highlights of the visit.
President Bola Tinubu returned from his trips to China and the UK Sunday night. Just a few hours after his return, the president would fulfill a sense of responsibility as he proceeded to Maiduguri to see the devastating consequences of the flood, stifling the rejuvenating peace of the Home of Peace. Though the waters have largely receded, those who suffered the effect are yet to overcome, as President Tinubu visited one of the camps housing those displaced by the disaster. They clearly felt the sense of compassion of the president. President Tinubu proceeded to the palace of Shehu of Borno, which was also overtaken by the floods. Not only has the state not witnessed flood of this magnitude, the disaster has equally truncated the rebuilding process of a state just recovering from the devastation of years of insurgency. And the traditional ruler, who appreciated the concern and support of the president, has a plea to the federal government.
My request to you is one, that is, to find out the root cause of this flooding and address appropriately so as to avoid future occurrence, as over 80% of this town has been affected by this disaster.
The magnitude of the damage we have, as it has been said by His Royal Highness, the Shehu of Borno, we want you to look into the possibility of reconstructing this dam with new hydraulic structures that can handle natural flow of water.
President Tinubu sympathized with the people of the state, and particularly those who have suffered varying degrees of losses to the disaster. For him, the Maiduguri experience is of national concern and will be treated as such.
We, as a government, as Nigerian people, will pledge with you that we will help in the rehabilitation and rescue of problems there. It is our problem, not just your problem, not the problem of community alone.
At the Borno State Government House, President Tinubu commended the commitment and leadership quality of Governor Babagana Umara Zulum and appreciated the support of various bodies, including members of the Governors Forum and donors.
For the people of Borno, Yobe, and other affected states, I say we will pull together a very good program for Nigeria to recover from this calamity and do better in the interest of our people. I've been thinking of how do we tackle this kind of a problem, whether it's climate change or any other means. But there must be a disaster relief fund for victims.
The president is back in the nation's capital after the one-day visit to Maiduguri. In Abuja, Musbau Dan Wahab, NT News.
Highlights of the president's visit to Maiduguri there. Thank you, Musbau. Knowledge and progress, two inseparable elements which have led the Director General of APC support groups, Professor Kailani Mohammed's burning thirst for more intellectual exploits. Abubakar Akwanga reports that to quench this thirst, the Professor of Electrical Electronics has added yet another doctorate to his academic archives.
A
It was an international event for the body of academic doyens cutting across several fields. Professor Keilani Mohammed was at the center with the conferment of Doctor of Philosophy in Political Science and Public Administration by the International University Italy and British American University.
We are calling on the government, the way Awolowo did of blessed memory in the Southwest. We want free education from primary to secondary to the tertiary institution.
We hereby solicit for more presence of well-meaning and educational lovers Nigerians in the university.
In Nigeria, anybody that is between the age of 55 to 100 years did not suffer in his educational trajectory. There is nobody within this education bracket that was not being paid when he was a student at the tertiary level, because that time there was scholarship.
To the recipients, he believes academic research should be encouraged in schools. Top-notch in the academic circle, lauded the unquenchable taste of Professor Keilani in the search for answers through knowledge. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Still on the quest for knowledge, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board's advancement of equal opportunity access to higher education for all, with particular emphasis on persons with disabilities, is to continue with more engagements with stakeholders. JAM Registrar Professor Ishaq Oloyede at a briefing stressed the need for a collective responsibility to ensure that no individual is left behind in the quest for access to quality education, urging tertiary institutions in the country to provide friendly facilities for people with disability as part of the ongoing inclusivity drive.
Reserved for a few, but a right that must be safeguarded for all. We must ensure that these doors are accessible to everyone, irrespective of the physical, sensory, or cognitive abilities.
On the security front, the Defense Headquarters has reacted to a video in circulation alleging unjust incarceration of a naval rating seaman Abbas Haruna for 6 years. In a statement, the Defense Headquarters assures the public that the Armed Forces of Nigeria remains committed to upholding justice, fairness, and the rule of law, noting that the military court-martial process, though meticulous, ensures fairness, equal opportunity, and justice in accordance with established military procedures and the law. In response to this allegation, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has directed immediate investigation into the matter, and the outcome will be made public in due course. DHQ urges the general public to exercise caution and refrain from spreading unsubstantiated information while the investigation is ongoing. Meanwhile, 1,000 bags of fertilizer and cash donations have been made to some APC members and individuals in Adamawa State. The gesture is by Senator Aishatu Dahiru Ahmed Binani to enhance agricultural production in the state. Yusuf Jika reports.
The APC governorship candidate in the 2023 election in Adamawa State, Senator Aishatu Dahiru Ahmed Binani, has been supporting APC members, groups and individuals in Adamawa State through various empowerment initiatives, as well as free distribution of food items and fertilizer to improve their livelihood. The recent distribution of 1,000 bags of fertilizer and cash donation to APC members and individuals by Senator Binani includes 430 delegates who ensure her victory during the APC primary election in Yola. Senator Aishatu Dahiru Ahmed Binani says the gesture is to ensure food security and improve livelihood of people in Adamawa State.
I have a strong feeling that, inshallah, God will not leave us just like that. We have fought our battle and we have left the rest to Him.
Some of the beneficiaries see the provision of fertilizer will assist them to have a bumper harvest.
We are still with her again. We still want her to be as a model what she did to us. We are thanking her very much. I will use the fertilizer in my farm. Thank you so much.
It will help them in so many ways.
And I think this is something that the people of Adamawa State, the masses of Adamawa State, have been yearning to see.
In Yola, Yusuf Jika, NTN News.
Now let's stay tuned for some messages. Please, reports will continue. Don't go away. Less than 5 days to the Edo governorship election. Witnessed some twists and realignment in the political scene. Let's join our correspondent, Goodluck Enani, on the latest developments.
After the PDP caucus meeting held today, the party leadership in Edo State commended the Inspector General of Police, IGP, for his commitment to a peaceful, free and fair election on Saturday, September 21 governorship election. They also gave an update on the signing of the peace accord.
We want to particularly appreciate the statement issued by the Inspector General of Police, making commitment to support the peace process to ensure that there's a level playing field. We are also pleased with the preparations of INEC.
The governorship candidate of the Action Alliance, AA, Prince Tom Isagohi Okoje, has stepped down his governorship ambition for the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Senator Monday Okpebholo, saying he believes in his economic recovery policies, which align with his party's ideology.
Senator Okpebholo embodies this kind of quiet leadership. He is strategic.
More voices from various political camps have been speaking on their preparedness and expectations of the election.
Every hand, every mind, every structure, every action, every plan, every dedication has been put into the bag.
Electronic transmission of results should be done. Everything that ought to be done to make the election a success should be done. Sensitive materials must be moved on time. We don't want late voting.
I'm saying, without your favor, that all of us must put our heads together to vote for the candidates that will bring dividends of democracy to the union of the people.
To be announced as the next governor of Edo State come on Saturday at most.
Let's now join Ayo DG Makinde for live sports update. Ayo.
Oh, thanks, Naja. Let's begin straight up from Delta, where our teenagers in Nigeria have continued to excel at the National Youth Games in Asaba. Now, let's have a flash of outstanding medalists as Michelle Ibidakwa of Team Oyo won gold in girls 200 meters individual medley ahead of teams Delta and Akwa Ibom. Also, Marvelous Duru of Team Delta State won the minus 32 kilogram in judo event ahead of Boluwatife Agumbiade of Team Ondo, who took the silver, while Chioma Atonwa of Team Edo and Isioma Moses of Team Abia settled for bronze. In athletics, Ngozi Treasure Okereke won the 400 meters girls final in 53.50 seconds to set herself for recognition from national coaches. Now, moving on to gymnastics, where Munya Kwaranga received 3 gold medals after her heroics in the vault and floor events of gymnastics. Expectedly, more winners will emerge on Tuesday. In football, Manchester City, well, the charges against them, of course, the hearing are already ongoing against them. And of course, we expect to see how the outcome will be for the breaches of the financial fair play after they were subsequently referred to an independent commission of inquiry. And of course, February in 2023 is when the allegations were submitted for evaluation. Just a quick one, that tickets for the 2024 the CAF Super Cup, which will be in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, have been sold out completely just less than 24 hours after it became public. And that's your sports. It's back to Naja.
Thank you very much, Ayo Dichi. The Erupupu family of Ikorodu announces the passing of their son, father, grandfather, husband, cousin, in-law and uncle, Apashe Lukman Ishola Oladimeji Erububu, who died on 16 September 2024, aged 75 years. Alhaji Irububu was a seasoned administrator who retired as a top management staff of PZ Industries after many years of meritorious service. The philanthropist, highly respected community leader and icon in Ikorodu, Lagos State, is survived by wife Jumoke Irububu, children and grandchildren. He will be buried on Tuesday, 17th September 2024, according to Islamic rites. Signed, Bimbo Lawal Ni Irububu, for the family name, rather. And that's Network News tonight. But before we go, a reminder of some stories brought to you earlier. President Tinubu was in Maiduguri to sympathize with the Borno people over the flood. Nigeria's inflation rate drops for 2 months running this year. And NNPC Limited releases estimated pump prices of petrol lifted from Dangote refinery. Thank you for being a part of the bulletin. I'm Naja Atutajani.